Friends, citizens, even a state built upon appropriation of the past will eventually find itself here in the present, at least for a moment. Behind us, at an ever-increasing distance, we see our genesis. Stories about passports, artifacts as raw as flint knives. As this distance grows, we must ask ourselves, how will we meet this opportunity? How will we use this new vantage point that time has offered us? A little over a year ago, in October of 2010, the first NSK Citizens Congress was held in Berlin. An international group of delegates convened to discuss matters of the NSK State. Miran and other founding members of the NSK Collective were present and waited expectantly for the citizens to take the reins of the state. There was no consensus among the delegates to do so. There was a great reluctance to stray far from our founders. In reports published in the wake of the Congress and in the recently published book, State of Emergence, which documents it, this reluctance is illustrated and examined. Delegate Igor Vidmar stated, "We should articulate our over-identification with NSK and with the NSK State as part of our work at the Congress." Delegate Avi Pitchin suggested that rather than take the reins of the state, it was important for the delegates to first demonstrate their understanding of the state and its principles, in so many words. My own impression was that the delegates did not feel empowered to change the status quo, nor did they desire to. There was an abundance of respect for the NSK Collective and the state as they had created it. This is not surprising. Who better to attend a First Citizens Congress than citizens of such passion for their state and its history? Citizens well-versed in the Yugoslavian context, for whom the hidden reverse was familiar territory. This rich history and the multifaceted analysis of it cast a long shadow at the Congress. That shadow continues through to the present day. The existing expressions of the NSK State are so intriguing that it often seems that by simply revisiting them or reenacting them, that we can somehow invoke the original heroism. But can a reenactment be as heroic as the original deed? Can an imitation be as timely as the original act? The tools of state have evolved over time and distance from Slovenia in 1991. The value of a passport to a refugee from a dissolving country or a citizen of a newly cast one is inestimable. The power of a sanctioned printing press in this role is transcendent. But is this still so at this moment here in our stable North American borders, where only a third of our citizens bother to get passports? Of course it is. The printing press is still a transcendent force in our state. The power of it as it is used here today, though, is most expressed not in the production of passports or instruments of national identity, but in that they almost literally produce our bread and butter. That is, in the production of money. Is anyone here carrying money? What could be less obscure? What could be more crass? Why should something so workaday as money be worthy of the same interrogation as national identity or the cruel binary logic of national borders? Its ubiquity, its unquestioned role in our lives? Certainly. But further consider this. A recent article in Business Week described a scene that could have played out almost a century ago along the border of a dissolving Russian empire. Police in Argentina have recently begun using specially trained dogs to sniff out valuables leaving their country. They are not looking for gold or jewelry. These specially trained dogs are trained to detect papyrus, the dry touch of birch, and a hint of aldehlides for a slight metallic accent. That is the smell of American dollars. For a state, its currency is more than just a means of exchange. It is a tool of control and a hallmark of sovereignty. With printing presses, a state can produce as many copies of your bills as it pleases. It can add zeros, it can take them away. It can even sublimate its currency into another to conjure up a new group identity. To press a point that is often made in alarm but is correct, our printed currency holds no innate value. It is not backed by a commodity like gold. Its only worth is imposed by the will of the state, by fiat. This point is central to the arguments of David Graeber, one of the architects of the Occupy movement. Before he manned the lines at Zuccotti Park, he was writing a book about money and debt and how it is used as a means of control. He refers to debt as human arrangements, compacts that we are theoretically free to tinker with if we choose to. And some people do. Like the state, money is an abstraction. It's an abstraction that we have only seen become more and more abstract, more and more malleable, as our financial professionals have become more and more creative. These are our true artists. Surely, when a state so actively compels us to participate in such arrangements, the NSK State must be there. The NSK State is more than its history. It demonstrates a unique set of intellectual tools. The power of recontextualization to bring the present moment into a past one. The ability of over-identification with the other to defy our pat judgments. These tools must be continuously applied if the state is to flourish. As non-virtual states mutate and adapt, we cannot let their new paradoxes go unaddressed. Rather than reveling infinitely in the wounds of another, ripped at again and again until it becomes cheap horror film, we must bravely expose fresh wounds, our own, or else they too will pass by unexamined and unhealed. We should not fear that the NSK State is not relevant to our new world or our new wounds. The NSK State is always relevant. But often, our time, our energy, and interest is consumed by the past, reliving it, re-examining it. Can we escape the past of our state and time? Can any victim or transgressor escape their past? The past is not there for us to escape, but it is there for us to take. We must appropriate this past of our state and time and make of it something that is uniquely our own. Thank you.